Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're digging into a really intriguing dinosaur, Albinykus.
That's right, Albinykus. It's one of those small but, well, super important alvarezsauриds from the Late Cretaceous.
And we're basing this discussion, our deep dive, on the 2011 paper by Nesbitt and his colleagues, right?
Exactly, that's our main source.
Okay, so our goal here is to really unpack what makes this little bird-like dino so fascinating and, figure out its spot in the grand scheme of evolution.
Sounds good.
Let's start with the name then, Albinykus. It sounds quite evocative.
It really is. It means albin claw. And albin, well, that's a term Mongolian shamans used apparently for light phenomena seen in the Gobi Desert.
Oh, interesting. So a direct link to where it was found?
Precisely, the Gobi Desert. Specifically, the fossils came from the Javklant Formation in Mongolia.
Right, Mongolia. And the paper naming it, that was Nesbitt, Clark, Turner, and Norell in 2011.
Yep, that's the team. They formally described Albinykus batar then.
Okay, Late Cretaceous Mongolia. Now, size. We mentioned small, but how small are we talking?
We're talking really small, like estimated under 1 kilogram.
Under a kilo, so less than, what, 2.2 pounds?
Exactly. That puts it right up there as one of the smallest alvarezsaurs ever found. And actually one of the smallest non-avian dinosaurs known, period.
Wow. And wasn't there something about this being part of a trend? Like, alvarezsaurs were generally shrinking.
Yeah, that's a key point. There seems to be this evolutionary trend within the alvarezsaur group towards smaller and smaller body sizes over time.
Okay.
And Albinykus seems to be, quite far along that path, a highly derived, miniaturized form. It probably means it had a very specific niche, maybe different diet or behavior compared to its bigger relatives.
Fascinating. Small but specialized.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the skeleton itself had something unique going on, didn't it? Something about the leg bones.
It did, yeah. A really distinctive feature. It's about the tarsals, the ankle bones. In Albinykus, they're completely fused to the other leg bones.
Completely fused. How so?
Well, the paper describes the proximal ones, the upper ankle bones, fused solid to the tibia, the main lower leg bone. And then the distal ones, the lower ankle bones, are fused just as solidly to the metatarsals, the foot bones.
Right. And that kind of complete fusion, that's unusual.
It's unique, actually, at least unique among all the known alvarezsaurs we have fossils for. It really sets Albinykus apart.
Any speculation in the paper on why? What advantage that might give?
The paper doesn't commit strongly, but you could argue it maybe added rigidity, strength to the lower leg and foot, perhaps something to do with how it moved, or maybe even digging.
Interesting thought. Okay, let's talk about how it was found. The posture of the fossil, that sitting position.
Yes, that was remarkable. The holotype specimen, which is basically the pelvis and the hind legs, was found preserved in this very specific sitting pose. The feet were tucked right up under the body.
And the significance of that.
Well, it's strikingly similar to how modern birds crouch or roost.
Oh, okay.
So it's seen as pretty strong evidence supporting that close evolutionary link between these non-avian Maniraptoran dinosaurs, which Albinykus belongs to, and birds themselves. It hints at shared behaviors.
So it looked bird-like, even in how it rested. Were other dinos found like this too? I feel like I've heard that.
You have, yeah, definitely. We've seen similar postures in fossils of oviraptorids and troodontids.
Right.
But the key thing here is that the Albinykus find was the first time this kind of bird-like resting posture was documented in an alvarezsaurid.
Got it. So it extends that behavior to another branch of the dinosaur family tree close to birds.
Exactly. It reinforces the idea that these behaviors were quite widespread among these particular groups.
And did they have any idea how it died to be preserved like that?
The exact cause isn't certain, no. But the paper sort of suggests it might have been rapid burial, maybe suffocation under sand. That could explain why it was preserved so perfectly in that lifelike pose.
Right, that makes sense. Okay, so let's sort of wrap up the key takeaways from our Albinykus deep dive.
Sure. I'd say the big points are, 1, its incredibly small size, showing that extreme miniaturization trend.
Okay.
2, those uniquely, completely fused tarsal bones in the leg, a real defining feature.
Right, the fused angles.
And 3, that amazing bird-like resting posture, which gives us another solid piece of evidence linking dinosaurs and birds behaviorally.
It really is incredible. A creature maybe smaller than a chicken, giving us these big clues about evolution.
Absolutely.
It kind of leaves you thinking, doesn't it? Consider how this one tiny dinosaur, Albinykus, tells us so much about the huge story of dinosaur evolution and where birds came from. What other little details, maybe seemingly insignificant things tucked away in fossils, might be holding equally massive secrets?
It's a great question. There's always more to uncover.
Definitely something to ponder. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive.